Will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody. I say morning because it's still dark outside as I start this recording. But hello to you, whatever time of day it is or season it is when you're watching this video. Just a couple weeks ago, 12 days ago to be exact, on March 5th, 2020, Abbey Realty and a number of our partners hosted Ricky Carruth for a coaching seminar at the Marriott Waterway in the Woodlands. I sat through the whole thing right on the front row, and yet must not have really absorbed what he was teaching, because when I went back to view the videos of that presentation a few days ago, I was blown away by the power and the truth of what Ricky shared with us that night. So what I want to do in this recording is put together in a very organized fashion the lessons that I heard, the most powerful lessons that Ricky shared that day. Because if I missed them on the front row as the organizer of the event, I know that it's very possible that there were others who didn't absorb all that was there. And as we know, the pathway to mastery involves going back over the same material again and again until it becomes absolutely part of you. So let's jump right in. As Ricky did in his conference, he came right out of the chute saying, well, what about market volatility? This craziness with the coronavirus going on, slumping oil prices, which really impacts us in Texas, international travel bans. Is the real estate market going to crash? Are we all going to die? And Ricky made the point very powerfully that real estate markets do crash. It certainly happens. We've been through them. Ricky tells his story of the crash of 08 that took him down. But even though markets crash, real estate agents do not have to. The market is 100 million% unlimited for real estate agents, regardless of what's happening in the market. If, when the market changes, you make some changes internally. Two changes specifically need to be made in an adjusting market or a crashing market if it goes that far. Number one, your mindset. You have to think differently about the business. And then secondly, your strategy. You have to adapt your sources and strategy of business to match the environment. But if you do that, then there need be no crash in your personal business. And I want to add that those are the two issues that we need to be constantly reassessing, even in an expanding market. In the good times, we always need to be reviewing our mindset. Are we thinking appropriately about ourselves and about our business? And are we adopting ever better strategies to maximize our efficiency and effectiveness? Mindset and strategy. Ricky reminds us that he lost everything in the crash of 2008, but then most importantly, the silver lining behind the black clouds, he said that when he lost everything is when he learned everything. And he tells the story of how when he left real estate after the crash, he went to work on an oil rig, and he set a personal goal of reading 100 books and then implementing the best practices that he learned from those books. He shared several of them by name in the seminar. Did it make any difference in his business? Well, Ricky's now closing over 100 deals each year as a single agent. He still goes to every showing, every inspection, every closing. And in the midst of all that, he is growing the fastest growing coaching organization in the world. As I speak now, over 26,000 agents being coached by Ricky through his online coaching programs. So he clearly learned something post 2008 crash. And in the seminar, he shared with us the lessons that he learned that have made such a difference. I'm going to share 10, 11, maybe 12 of the ones that I withdrew from his words. Lesson number one, find the most efficient ways to do things. Get the most bang for the buck, and go all in on those things while continuing to test other things. Now, at first, that sounds like a contradiction. It's a little schizophrenic. Go all in on what you discover works really well, but at the same time, continue to test things over here on the side. It's really not a contradiction. It is how top producers in every industry operate. When you find something that really works, you want to shift resources to that, cut off things that aren't working, adjust your business plan multiple times every year to shift things towards sources and strategies that are generating the most results. But don't just camp out there and think that that one source or strategy is going to fund your aspirations for the rest of your career, because we're in a constantly changing environment. What's working incredibly well today may be completely irrelevant 6 months from now. If it is, we'll recognize that. But what if it just degrades in efficiency about 5% every month? Are we going to notice? That's why while we're going all in on what's working, we're also testing constantly, sometimes not through our own experiences, but we're checking with agents in our mastermind group. We're checking in with agents that we respect, even if we're not meeting with them on a regular basis, and saying, hey, what's working for you now? And while we're going all in on what's working for us, we can invest a little bit of money here to see if that's going to happen. And I want to pause here for just a moment. Robin, our Director of First Impressions, who's also a real estate agent. Every Abbey staff member is a real estate agent. That enables us to provide service to all of our agents. We can say, if you need help with a contract, with marketing advice, with uploading a contract to the MLS, ask any Abbey staff member. We're all practicing producing real estate agents. The one exception to that would be me, of course, but all of our staff members are. Robin mentioned to me yesterday that she's getting great results with homes.com. I found that very interesting because I was a homes.com client a number of years ago when I was a producing agent, and I got absolutely nothing out of it. And yet the results that she shared with me were astounding. So what's the difference? Is it her skill at converting online leads? She is very skilled, but at the same time that I was getting no results from homes.com, I was converting at 30% on Op City leads. Both of them are online leads. So I don't think that I was unskilled at converting. For some reason, my homes.com leads were just terrible. And yet, perhaps, and this is my theory, homes.com has upgraded their leads over the years. So what didn't work in the past is working well now. By the same token, you can bet that what is working now won't work exactly the same way in days to come. That's why we have to go all in, but continue to test and explore and keep our options open and adjust mindset and strategy as things change. Lesson 2, always be thinking, what can I do to get paid? Ricky shared the story of when he was working for his dad as a roofer. He didn't get paid by the hour or even by the job. He got paid by the number of tabs on the end of the shingle packs that he turned into his dad at the end of the day. That was proof of how many shingles he had laid, and he got paid for his productivity in that way. Real estate is just like that. You don't get paid for showing up. You only get paid when you sell something. Going to classes, meetings, realtor social functions will not put food on your table. You'll end up like this guy if you're just going to all these setup activities, these essential activities, things that we must do. We have to learn, we have to get the skills, the knowledge, sharpen our saw. But if that's all we do is go to class, if we become classroom junkies, if we become addicted to the learning environment, but never get out in the production environment, we aren't going to make it. We don't get paid just for showing up like you would do at a W-2 job. So we have to always have this production orientation. What can I do to get paid? What can I do today? What am I doing right now that's going to result in a check at the closing table? And if we're not having those affirmative answers a lot, if we can't say absolutely what I'm doing right now is going to result in a paycheck, then we need to adjust the way we're thinking about our business and what we're doing. Again, our mindset and our strategies. Lesson 3, always have 2 jobs. Ricky shared the story of his dad always told him, don't quit a job, just add another one. And Ricky worked as a roofer and a waiter. He worked on the oil rig, and while he was there, he was reading the 100 books, which was kind of like a second career. I see many, many realtors making a mistake when they get into this business. They quit their day job, they quit their W-2 job, and go all in on real estate. And I think that's phenomenal if you have a working spouse or a trust fund or a retirement check or some other source of funds. But I see way too many agents put themselves under unnatural pressure because they're depending on real estate to start generating checks for them immediately. And I'm not saying it takes a long time, but I am saying there's a lot to learn in the beginning. It's more about learning in the early days, and then the earning comes a little bit behind that. And so many agents come in inadequately funded, and they don't have staying power. And when they don't get a few things in the pipeline immediately, they end up running out of funds and then going back to that W-2 job that they'd left several months earlier. My recommendation to agents, and I shared this in a video recently, is don't give up your day job until you're generating enough income from real estate sales to replace your current income. Then you can make the transition and there won't be any financial pressure. There will be time pressure, of course, because it takes a lot of time to sell real estate. You may have two full-time jobs for a while, your W-2 and your 1099 in real estate sales, but that's better. And I realize this is a little counterculture here, but burning your boats is not always the best thing. Sometimes it is good to keep, feet in two different worlds, one foot on the boat, one foot on the shore, while you're getting your footing and getting your business established. It's always smart to have multiple streams of income. As an owner, I've got Abbey Realty, I've got Jackson Henry Mortgage, Molly K Media, and recently got involved with a company called Team National. So even as an owner, even though I'm not selling real estate, I believe and practice always having two jobs or three or four. Multiple streams creates real balance in your business and peace of mind about your financial future. Lesson number 4, build 2 planning and review sessions into each day. Ricky said he starts every day with a 30-minute meeting with himself, 30 minutes to review the day. No emails, no distractions, turns his phone off. He reviews what he did the day before. He looks at his hot prospects he needs to follow up on this day, looks at his appointment schedule, and he makes a list of everything that must be done that day. Then he can go into his day being very intentional. And then he pauses again mid-afternoon about 3 o'clock to make sure that anything that has not been done that was on that list he put together in the morning gets done before 5 o'clock, because at 5 o'clock he shuts it down. He told us at 6 o'clock he shuts his phone off. He goes home, clears his mind, relaxes. He even said he likes to waste time, spends time with his family. And many agents really struggle with that. And frankly, I'd like more detail behind how he does that, because I found it difficult as a producing agent to turn things off at 5 o'clock or turn my phone off at 6 o'clock. But Ricky was very adamant that he's made it work. He's communicated that to his clients, and they have adjusted themselves to working with him during business hours. So it's something that if I was in real estate sales right now, I would be really reevaluating what I was doing to move in that direction, because this business will burn you out if there's no turnoff time. Lesson number 5, believe in the unlimitedness of business. You should be thinking, how many people in my market area need help? And the truth is, everybody does. There's an unlimited number of people. People are still living in houses. And that's true when oil markets slump, when there's global pandemics, people still need a place to live. And even if there's a slowdown, and undoubtedly there will be as a result of this pandemic, people are still going to move. Life is still going to go on. People are going to get married. They're going to have children. They're going to need to adjust their living situations. There's an unlimited number of people who need help. What you have done in the past, your past productivity stats, are really irrelevant. What Ricky does is he measures market share by how many real relationships that you have with homeowners in your market area. And he made the point that we trade stock based upon expected future earnings of companies. And he would buy stock in you as a real estate agent, not based upon past productivity, but upon how many real relationships you're building in your marketplace, because those relationships are the best indicator of your future earnings. So don't be discouraged if you've struggled in the past. Start with mindset, believe in the unlimitedness of business, and then start taking action, implement the strategy of building real relationships. We're going to touch in just a moment on some specific ways to do that. Lesson number 6, don't focus on setting the appointment. Focus on helping the prospect. This is one way you build real relationships. You move from a transaction orientation, I got to get the deal, I got to get the appointment, I got to get the listing, to what can I do to help you? And that may be taking the listing or helping them purchase a home. It may be counseling them that it's best that they ride it out, or that they don't move, or they don't refinance. It's really taking a deep dive look at their needs and then giving them the best professional advice you can. Traditional real estate is obsessed with what the prospect can do for the agent. Ricky said he's on a life mission to turn that on its head and get this industry focused on what agents can do for our prospects. But when you're focused on a transaction, it's difficult to move the relationship forward. And here's a little tip, very practical tip. When you're trying to find out what you can do to help the prospect, the best question to ask is, why are you buying or selling? Get to the motivation level. There's something driving it below them. Until you know that motivation, it's just a transaction. And you're just trying to facilitate getting a commission. But once you understand their life need or their life aspiration, then you're really in a position to analyze the large picture and help them move towards the fulfillment of that aspiration. That's helping people. That's building real relationships. Lesson number 7, do 3 things really well. Ricky's emphasized this in the seminar, but also in his books. And he said, these are the 3 things that he has done that have really been the key to his success. He talks to the most people more than anyone else, with the best of intentions more than anyone else. And then he builds the biggest, baddest brand around that more than anyone else. He builds his brand around talking to the most people with the best of intentions. Reminds me of what St. Francis of Assisi said centuries ago: do few things, but do them well. Well, these are the 3 things that Francis of Assisi would concentrate on. Forgive me, I don't know that, but it seems to me that he would if he were a real estate agent. So how do we build that brand? That brand around those things? Lesson 8, build your personal brand with a weekly email. Ricky said his weekly email, which I believe he's been sending every Wednesday since 2008, is the most genius thing he ever did. Once he started, regardless of what year that was, he has never missed a Wednesday ever, not for vacation, sickness, baby being born, any of those things. That Wednesday email goes out. It's a weekly email, the same day of the week, forever. It is the foundation of your personal brand. You can layer other things onto your business. Direct mail postcards, billboards, text messages, client appreciation events, but those are built on top of this foundation, the firm foundation of your business, which is the weekly email. That creates your personal brand, because that is the consistent communication that your target audience is receiving about you. That's where they're learning about you, bonding with you, creating emotional connections, getting their real estate information. Your personal brand, i.e. this weekly email, must be consistent, original content. You cannot do this with stock email campaigns, giving tips on how to clean your gutters or current hot colors for buyers, that kind of thing. No, create original content once a week. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Frank, an email once a week, that's overwhelming. Where would I come up with content? Apparently, Ricky's been asked that question a million times. And so he just threw this out as a possibility. Week 1, you could feature a new listing. Week 2, a new restaurant. Talk about, hey, I took my spouse out. We had a great dinner. We had the lobster. It was awesome. You should go try it. That kind of thing. Week 3, monthly real estate stats. And then week 4, breaking news in your local market. It could be anything about school districts or tax issues or local boy makes good and goes to the Olympics, whatever. That's just a model. Ricky said it's not necessarily the one that he's followed in the past, but if you just need help getting started, that's some great direction. And you can actually see samples of Ricky's weekly emails on his website, zerotodiamond.com. Lesson number 8, be unstoppable. I got to tell you, this was one of the most powerful things I heard. Ricky drew a distinction between being unstoppable and being unbeatable. Nobody's unbeatable. Somebody's always going to be better than you at something, or get a slight edge, or get a lucky break. You're not going to win every battle. You're not unbeatable, but you can be unstoppable. You can say, I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue to get better. I'm not just going to do the same thing over and over again. I'm going to do the same thing over and over again with a specific intent to get better. He threw out there, get 1% better every day, and you will maybe someday approach unbeatable. But if you're just unstoppable, you're going to succeed at a high level. I'll tell you a quick story from my own life. When I was in high school, my senior year playing football, there was this guy on our football team, John Manley, who was a bodybuilder and just built like a rock. He was unbelievable, just rippled with muscles. Nobody on our team compared to him in terms of physique. And I was a beanpole, 6'2", 175 pounds, which is about 75 pounds less than I weigh right now. So I was really super skinny, the defensive end. And one day the coach lined us all up, put John out there in a 4-point stance and said, who wants to go one-on-one, man-on-man with John Manley? Well, I raised my hand, nobody else did. So I went out there and we lined up and crash on the whistle. Of course, brief struggle, and then he just pushed me back, not too much trouble. Well, I went back in line. Coach says, all right, who's next? And he looked around, everybody looked down at the ground. And I finally realized nobody else was going to do it. So I raised my hand. I said, I'll go do it again. Went up there, lined up, crash, struggled, and then he pushed me back. Believe it or not, that happened 4 or 5 times in a row. Every time John beat me, every time I'd go back in line, nobody else would volunteer. I'd raise my hand again. And eventually the coach got tired of it, blew the whistle, and we went and did something else. But the point was, I was unstoppable. I wasn't unbeatable. He beat me every time. We'd probably been out there till dark. He'd have still been beating me every time, but I would not have stopped. And if you bring that attitude into your business, you're always going to get better. You're going to sharpen your skills. You're going to work on your scripts. You're going to refine your strategies. You're going to reach out to 50 people a day, 100 people a day, 200 people a day. You're just going to be this immovable force. If you do that, you will succeed in this business. That is the secret to success. But again, it starts in the mind. It's a mindset. I'm unstoppable. And that then shows up in your strategies. Lesson number 9, the surprising lesson of the day: drink water all day long. Ricky made the point that fatigue and hunger, grouchiness, brain fuzziness can all stem from being dehydrated. And it was very interesting. He shared that message with us on a Thursday, and the very next day I received this in the mail. I had ordered it previous to his lesson, but it's a 64-ounce water jug, which I fill in the morning, finish before the end of the day, and ensures that I get my 8-ounce servings of water. But I've also done a little research since Ricky's seminar, and I just want to throw in a few other tips, because most of us are desperately dehydrated. Don't just drink tons of water, kind of like what you see in the clip here. It will just run through you. Don't just, if you'll have a small snack with your water, little tiny snacks through the day, it actually keeps your metabolism up. You'll burn more calories, and it helps you retain that water in a good way. Drinking water about 30 minutes before a meal will cause you to eat less. It will fill you up, and you'll consume less calories. So if you're trying to lose weight, that's a good thing. Drinking cold water causes your body to burn calories to bring that water up to body temperature. So again, if you're trying to burn calories, get the cold stuff. Milk, tea, and fruit juice are all retained at a higher rate than just water. So don't feel like your 64 ounces a day has to be just water. Tea, coffee, fruit juice. Now, some of those are diuretics. Coffee will sometimes run right through you, but milk, tea, and fruit juice specifically, mix those in. You'll get some additional nutrients, and it won't just run through your body. Drink water all day long. Lesson number 10. And by the way, it has been pointed out to me when I taught this class live yesterday that I had two lesson number 8s. Lesson 8, build your brand. Lesson 8, be unstoppable. So lesson 9. So really we're at number 11, but who's counting? The key to growth is to maintain old relationships while creating new ones. And someone raised the question at the seminar, how do you do that with the limitation of time? And Ricky's answer was, you maintain your old relationships with the weekly email, sending out that personal brand message every single week. With that drip, drip, drip consistency, they feel like they still know you and that you're still in touch with them, you still care about them. For new relationships, those are daily calls to owners of the type of properties you want to sell, whether that's beachfront, senior housing, whether it's a geographic area, whether it be starter homes, but you're proactively picking up the phone and dialing a certain number of those prospective sellers every day, offering your real estate services. So those are the 10 or 11 biggest lessons that I pulled out of what Ricky shared. And then I do have a bonus lesson. Seemed that every time somebody asked a question that they were frustrated or stuck, Ricky had the same answer: make more calls. You want better clients? Make more calls. More loyal clients? Make more calls. Need more money? Make more calls. Are you falling short of your goals? Make more calls. Do you want to build a team? Do you need a new car? Are you getting pressure from your spouse? Are you feeling like you're not going to make it? Is there a sense of desperation creeping in? The answer to everything is to make more calls, create new relationships, tee up more opportunities. You can get yourself out of any hole if you will simply make more calls. And I realize most people hearing this, it's going to just go right over their head because we don't like making calls. But the truth is that is the single activity that stands between success and failure for most agents. So we have in Abbey Realty in our cafe a computer with a Cole Realty resource list on there. It's a database of every homeowner in the state of Texas. There's literally hundreds of thousands of homeowners that you can call using that database. And I do see agents over there every day downloading their lists, but honestly, there should be a line. Because even in Abbey Realty, and we have a goal of having the highest per agent productivity among all large brokerages in the state of Texas, we have agents who are struggling. And this bonus lesson, make more calls, would pull them out of the struggle within a matter of days, within honestly 1 day of calling. If they just called 200 people, they would have appointments set. Then a couple of weeks, they would have active buyers or sellers. And within 4 to 6 weeks, they'd be making paychecks. So this is it. You got issues, you got problems, frustrated, getting some pressure, make more calls. So what's next? Go to zerotodiamond.com. Ricky's got a 90-day action plan. Watch the explainer video that he provides there. Then do the plan. One person raised their hand at the seminar and said, I'm really struggling. You know, I downloaded your plan. And Ricky stopped him and said, are you doing the plan? And the answer was kind of. And Ricky said, that's the problem. So when I say do the plan, don't kind of do it. Go all in. It's proven. It works. There are literally thousands of agents whose businesses have been transformed by these specific strategies. I'm not even saying they're the best in the world. There's so many ways to create wealth in this business. But Ricky's way is a way. It is a proven way. It works. So if you don't have a better plan, do that. and do it all the way. Do it to the T, and you will succeed in real estate. And then I would just say connect with others who are doing the same thing. If you're an Abby agent, then post on Facebook that you're doing Ricky, and is there anybody else who's doing it? You can form your own little mastermind group. If you're not in Abby Realty, and we appreciate all the agents who learn from our training videos, then just reach out and connect within your own sphere of influence or on your own Facebook page and see if you can gather some agents doing this with you. It's always better, easier to maintain momentum and consistency and commitment over time if you're doing this in the company of others. Well, there you go. My name is Frank Gray. I appreciate you going on this journey with us. If I can ever help you in any aspect of your business, break through to the next level, achieve your aspirations, that's what I live for. I love helping agents. So let's go there together.